from Somalia. We'll also check on the latest in sports. KSDO's meteorologist, Sean Boyd, says you can expect it to be partly cloudy by this afternoon. Possible rain late in the afternoon and through the evening. The high along the coast should be right around 60 degrees. Right now, 45 degrees in San Diego, 44 in the East County.
San Diego's most trusted news. San Diego's most listened to talk shows. News Talk Radio, AM 1130, KSDO San Diego.
7 o'clock.
From ABC News, good morning. I'm Jon Belmont. The holiday season just started for 450 American soldiers home this morning from Somalia. Lieutenant Michael Rogney just flew and bussed into Fort Drum, New York. He's feeling
good, very good. We got my son in my arms and my wife and my newborn daughters nearby.
And by the Army officer's side, his wife, Alicia.
He called me up from Griffiths this morning about 4, and he's like, I am freezing my buns off.
She's been taking care of 2 kids on her own, and she's done an excellent job. She's definitely glad to see me here.
Some of the soldiers' wives say the U.S. wasted lives and money in Somalia. But other things are on Alicia Rogney's mind right now. Her family has some last-minute Christmas shopping to do.
So let him shop to me.
The president's former envoy now says the U.S. and UN made some major mistakes in Somalia. Robert Oakley says they violated the most basic rules of peacekeeping. Don't make enemies and don't get involved in the war. Late word from Washington. The U.S. Supreme Court has decided not to order a rehearing in the case of a 22-year-old pregnant Chicago woman who's refusing to undergo a cesarean section that could save the life of her fetus. A violent night in America. 5 people, including a 14-year-old girl, were found shot or stabbed to death in a single hour in New York. Police say they haven't made any arrests. In suburban Washington, Maryland police say 3 men were found shot to death in a Rockville house early this morning. No word on the motive there. The angry shooter in yesterday's Walmart parking lot attack had complained to sheriff's deputies that somebody shot his dog. But investigators haven't been able to confirm that David McFlynn had a dog. The 39-year-old unemployed man killed 2 people plus himself in Hugo, Oklahoma. Good driving this morning. If you're starting your Christmas vacation early, just watch out for some very slippery roads in western Maryland and much of Pennsylvania. The Federal Highway Administration is about to order most truck and bus drivers to stop using radar detectors on interstates next month. You're listening to ABC News.
Christmas morning's finally here. Everyone's been good all year. They wake you up before dawn. You gotta put that Folgers on. There's laughter and there's joy as they discover each new toy. You share their surprise 'cause Folgers open up your eyes. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Christmas magic in the air, wrapping paper everywhere. Santa and you have made some little dreams come true. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
38 years of NFL history are ending at CBS. The network has lost the NFC rights to Fox, which reportedly bid $1.6 billion over 4 years to start carrying the games next season. Broadway is ending the year with what may be its biggest musical flop ever. Julie Stein's Red Shoes opened at the Gershwin Theater Thursday and is closing tomorrow. After 5 performances costing $8 million, that works out to $1.6 million a show. San Jose police and the feds say they've shorted out a leading computer chip theft ring in Northern California. ABC's Dan Kerman has the story.
Authorities say they've been following this Vietnamese gang for 6 months.
The investigation focused on a sophisticated gang that may have been involved in violent takeovers of high-tech computer companies with subsequent transportation of stolen computer peripherals.
That's San Jose Police Sergeant Bob Beams. He says police set up a sting to make the suspects believe they were going to steal a $10 million shipment of Intel's 486 series microprocessors. In all, there were 6 arrests. Authorities believe the stolen computer chips are sold on the gray market in Taiwan and Vietnam. Dan Kerman, ABC News, San Francisco.
The Connecticut man who created a giant illegal dump known as Mount Trashmore has been sentenced in Bridgeport to spend 52 weekends in jail. State officials and neighbors told the judge the junk made life miserable. This is ABC News.
You're at a holiday party eating red and green onion rings when you realize your breath isn't a little off-key. La, 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 la. It's really off-key. La, 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 la. Don't get upset. Get Clorettes. For over 40 years, no other breath freshener's been more effective than Clorettes. So just pop a couple in and relax. Your breath will be ready for the mistletoe in no time. When your breath's really off-key, la, 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 la. Get Clorettes in both gum and mints.
You're listening to San Diego's exclusive news talk radio station, KSDO, AM 1130.
Good morning, San Diego. It's 5 minutes past 7. You're listening to KSDO, AM 1130 News Talk Radio. Now, KSDO Traffic Watch 1130 and Catherine Scott.
Jim, overall, the highways are looking good. In Encinitas, however, we have an injury accident South 5 between La Costa Avenue and Lucadia. One of the cars is in the fast lane facing the wrong way. For Farmers Insurance, I'm Catherine Scott. Traffic every 10 minutes, mornings and afternoons on KSDO, AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
KSDO meteorologist Jon Belmont is here with the San Diego forecast.
Although the intensity of the precipitation may not be as big a deal as we originally thought, we still expect some showers late today, tonight, and tomorrow. The low has slowed down and is moving more southward than eastward, and it is weakening. We do expect snow in the mountains, too. Downtown San Diego high today 63, tomorrow 60. I'm meteorologist Jon Belmont on KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
Now President Clinton's weekly radio address.
Good morning. On this last Saturday before Christmas, I want to thank you for listening before you go shopping. And on behalf of America's retailers, I promise I won't keep you long today. I'd like to talk a little bit about our economic future. I don't mean next week's sales, as strong as I hope they'll be. I mean the future that you and your children will enjoy as families and as workers in the global economy that is taking shape around us. When I entered office, I pledged that economic renewal would be my highest mission. Our first order of business was to get our own economy in competitive trim. That's why we enacted an economic plan that reduces our deficit by $500 billion over the next 5 years, while making targeted investments in technology, education and training, in defense conversion to help those industries and people who've been hurt by defense cutbacks. Already that plan is helping to earn important dividends. Interest rates are at historic lows. Inflation is down. We've had 4 straight months of rising housing starts, and last month there was a 19-year low in the number of people who were late in their home mortgage payments. Millions of people have refinanced their homes and businesses, and the country's created more private sector jobs this year alone than in the previous 4 years combined. Consumer confidence is up dramatically. Ordinary Americans are finally beginning to feel the impact of this recovery, but there's a lot more to do. First, while renewal must begin here at home, we also have to reach beyond our borders if we are to prosper over the long run. That's one message I have to leave with you today. We're in a time of enormous economic change. Old communist economies are giving way to market forces. Information, ideas, and money speed around the planet at the speed of light. The new global economy is generating incredible prosperity, but also an awful lot of uncertainty and dislocation. Americans are worried, rightly, about the security of their jobs, about the ability of their companies to stay afloat, about the flight of factories abroad and whether the people running their companies really care about them, about the opportunities all our children will have. It's understandable that so many Americans view the global economy as a threat, but we have to resist the impulse to withdraw behind our trade barriers. From the founding of our republic to the settling of our broad prairies, it's always been in the American character to reach out and shape our own destiny. We must draw on that spirit for our nation to thrive in this new age. Our workers in today's economy are more productive than ever. Fewer people are producing more and more goods and services. But in an environment like that, the only way to create more jobs and to raise incomes is to have more customers, and that means more exports. That's why in this global economy, America must compete and not retreat. Since this summer, our administration has taken several important steps to do that. First, at a July summit in Tokyo, we reached agreement with our major trading partners in Europe, Japan, and Canada to open their markets in a number of sectors to our products. We also struck a new agreement with Japan that can begin to correct our unacceptable trade imbalance with them. Second, in November, we secured congressional approval of the North American Free Trade Agreement. NAFTA creates the world's largest free trade area. For America, that means we can find new customers in Mexico, and that in turn means more jobs here at home. And NAFTA can lead to similar arrangements with emerging free market economies all across the Latin American area. Just after we passed NAFTA, I convened the first ever meeting in Seattle with leaders from the Asian Pacific region, the fastest growing economy in the world. I made it clear that our nation intends to share in the rising tide of Pacific prosperity. And just this week, we concluded the GATT World Trade Talks that began 7 years ago. This is a good, solid deal for our workers and our businesses. It cuts foreign tariffs on U.S. products in 8,000 different product areas by an average of a third. Once it's fully in place, it will add as much as $100 to $200 billion to our economy every year and create hundreds of thousands of new and good-paying American jobs. When you put that with the fact that we have removed export controls from over $35 billion in high-tech computers and telecommunications equipment, I'm proud of the strides our country has made toward opening our economy, generating more jobs from trade, and renewal this year. Not since the end of World War II has the United States secured so many historic trade expansion agreements in so short a period. These efforts are making the world's economic changes work to our advantage, and they're reestablishing our leadership in global affairs. But none of this would have been possible without the work that you do every day to make our nation stronger, to make our communities more vibrant and our families more secure. This year, we've worked hard to help you in those daily strivings. We've put the economic interests of America's broad middle class back at the center of our policies at home, with a fairer tax code, with a tax break to 15 million lower-wage working families to encourage them to keep working and raising their children and to stay off welfare, with passage of the family and medical leave law. And during the coming year, my administration will continue to work so that all Americans can benefit from this new global economy. That means we have to pass a dramatic retraining program, pass our School to Work program to help with apprenticeships for non-college bound young people, pass the Safe Schools Act and our Safe Streets initiative to put 100,000 more police officers on your streets, and pass universal health care reform so that health care will be a security for American families and always be there. As we celebrate our blessings during this holiday season, let's remember that Americans have never cowered from change. We have always mastered it. That is something to be grateful for. And together, we are going to do it once again. Thanks for listening.
He started at a Tulsa radio station, moved on to St. Louis, and hit it big in Chicago during World War II. He's still on radio with news and comment at 7:30 and 12 noon.
Perhaps forever.
Along about 5:25 in the afternoon, here he is again.
For the rest of the story.
He has a way with the news like no other.
And that is so.
He's America's most popular radio commentator.
Thank you.
His name?
Paul Harvey.
And you can hear him exclusively on KSDO.
KSDO News Time, 12 minutes past 7. A gang-related shooting at a house party in Oceanside last night has left 2 men in a hospital, more than a dozen people in custody. Officers intervened at a party at a residence on Lopez Street in Oceanside, where gunfire broke out and 2 men had been shot. Officers arrested 13 suspects, 2 of them females, in connection with spraying gunfire from a passing pickup truck near the scene. Detectives say the party apparently broke out as a result of a dispute between rival gangs. 2 Navy men are in custody following an officer-involved shooting in Chula Vista last night. 2 plainclothes officers were trying to break up a dispute between the Navy men and a woman outside an apartment on Oaklawn Street when the men shot at the officers. Police returned fire, striking both suspects. 23-year-old Michael Anderson was hit in the arm and leg. 24-year-old Derek O'Neill was struck in the hand. Neither of the 2 Chula Vista officers hurt. Anderson and O'Neill are in hospitals this morning, being detained on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. San Diego police are making a change in a long-running policy related to the Border Patrol. We get more on that from KSDO's Wade Douglas.
Previously, police would release anyone they suspected of a crime but had no probable cause to arrest, even if they strongly suspected they were in the country illegally. Now they'll hold them for the Border Patrol. Police Chief Jerry Sanders says, though,
we will not be going out and enforcing border or immigration laws. That's not what we have the time to do. That's not the thrust of the police department, and we don't feel that that's something that we need to be doing.
La Raza Attorneys Association Sergio Feria is still concerned.
We think the old policy was fine. This new policy is going to create much potential for misuse and abuse.
Chief Sanders says they'll be closely monitoring the new policy. I'm Wade Douglas on KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
Fire investigators are trying to determine the cause of a hotel fire in the downtown San Diego area that displaced about 20 residents. The blaze started at a room on the 2nd floor of the Arlington Hotel at 7th and G. Several residents were trying to put out that blaze with a fire hose. 2 San Diego officers were able to rescue the residents and carry them to safety. The fire was put out shortly after that. No injuries reported. The damage estimate is still unknown. A San Diego man says rap music made him do it. Commit 16 robberies, that is. In a letter to a probation officer after pleading guilty to the robberies, David Carell admitted the music had a negative effect on him. Carell asked that he be placed on probation for the month-long series of robberies in April, but a judge would have none of that. The judge sentenced Carell to 12 years in prison and ordered his accomplice to spend 4 years in prison. The 2 first robbed a couple at a Del Mar beach, then a bookstore, a La Jolla taco shop, an ice cream store, a Pacific Beach taco shop, and a Midway Drive taco shop. The 1993 Holiday Bowl between Ohio State and BYU is just around the corner, and you could be going to the big game if you listen to KSDO starting Monday morning. Listen to the morning news and the afternoon news, or the Ken Kramer Show, for your chance to win a pair of tickets from KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio. KSDO Sports Time, 7:15, and with the sports, here's Whitney Southwick.
Remember Katarina Witt? Well, she's skating her way back to the top following a 6-year absence from competitive figure skating. The 28-year-old Witt finished second in yesterday's short program at the German National Championships. Only the top 2 finishers, of course, will qualify for the upcoming Olympics. The tiny country of Liechtenstein has won its first ever victory in World Cup skiing. Marcus Fozier won the downhill yesterday at Val Gardena, Italy. Werner Franz of Austria was second. The top American finisher, A.J. Kitt, he came in 20th. Little baseball news this morning. Ricky Henderson is returning to the A's for the 3rd time. The fleet-footed 35-year-old was traded from Oakland to Toronto before last season for a player to be named later. Apparently that player turns out to be Henderson, who yesterday signed a new 2-year contract with Oakland. Here in San Diego, rumors are running wild of some trades coming up. Here's Ron Rena with more on that story.
The Padres yesterday signed Kevin Elster, veteran infielder. It's a minor league contract, but he'll be invited to spring training to make the club. Kevin played 5 years for the Mets, but hurt a shoulder in '92 and only played 6 games. And last year was part of the Dodgers organization, but didn't play at all, just on rehab. And, of course, earlier in the week came word that the Padres are negotiating seriously with Bip Roberts. So to Padres manager Jim Riggleman, if they do sign Bip Roberts, would he play the infield or the outfield?
If we were fortunate enough to have a Bip Roberts right now, we would probably put him in an infield and just, wherever we feel was needed the most. Right now, whether that would be second or third, I'm not sure.
Of course, Bip played the last couple of years with the Cincinnati Reds after being traded there by the Padres, but he's a free agent. Now to Jim Riggleman, any concern about Bip Roberts' injury history and missing so many ball games?
He's a tough guy. His injuries, unlike what has been mentioned in the past, they've been legitimate. Some people have questioned that, and I certainly have not. I know that the guy's a tough guy, a tough gamer, and we certainly like to have him out there.
So if the Padres do sign Bip Roberts, and having already signed Kevin Elster, if nothing else, getting some veteran help for the infield for '94. I'm Ron Rena, KSDO, AM 1130, News Talk Radio.
Turning to golf, Kyocera has announced it will no longer sponsor the local event of the LPGA Tour. This ends the 13-year partnership between Kyocera, based here in San Diego, and the Ladies Professional Golf Tour. The annual event has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for local charities and hospitals over the years. In the PGA, Larry Mize and Steve Elkington share the halfway lead at the Johnny Walker Championships being played in Jamaica. Both are at 9 under par, 3 shots ahead of Scotland's Colin Montgomery. In the NBA, Shaquille O'Neal has had his pocket picked by the penalty committee of the league headquarters. We get the story from Marv Schneider.
The NBA has fined Shaquille O'Neal of the Magic $5,000 for a flagrant foul against Sean Kemp of the Supersonics. That's in addition to the automatic $250 O'Neal was assessed when he was ejected from Tuesday night's game. It's his second $5,000 fine in 3 weeks, but he might not even notice it. Orlando pays him $3 million this year, and he makes about $12 million more in outside income. $3 million of that is from a shoe company, the same one that has Kemp under contract. O'Neal says that's one reason he would never deliberately hurt Kemp. Marv Schneider, New York.
Last night in NBA action, O'Neal scored 36 points to lead the Magic past Phoenix. Elsewhere, it was the As over Boston by a point, the Sixers got by the Lakers. Denver Nuggets lost for the 8th straight time on the road, losing to Charlotte 99-96. It was the Bulls over the Knicks 98-86. The Sonics walloped the Bucks 127-97. Seattle is now 18-2 on the year. Elsewhere, the Timberwolves got by the Clippers 105-90, and it was the Golden State Warriors 109, Sacramento Kings 94. Only one game in college basketball among the top 25. It was number 5, Kentucky, easily defeating Morehead State. The final score in that one, 97-61. We'll be back to wrap up all today's sports at 7:45. Till then, Whitney Southwick, KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
KSDO Traffic Watch 1130 and Catherine Scott.
Good morning, Jim. For North County motorists, CHP are still at the scene of an accident in Encinitas, South 5 between La Costa Avenue and Leucadia Boulevard. Further north in Vista, Caltrans is keeping themselves busy. Eastbound 78 from Melrose to Mar Vista, and then westbound 78 from Mar Vista to Melrose. One of the middle lanes on both sides will be closed until 9 this morning. Is your color TV at home insured for guaranteed replacement or depreciated value? Farmers Insurance has the answer. Call your local farmer's agent today. I'm Catherine Scott. Traffic every 10 minutes, mornings and afternoons on KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
It's Saturday morning, and you're listening to KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
KSDO News Time, 7:21. Time to check the business news with Gordon Williams.
Sports stars have been making out of the arena onto the business pages for a long time. 1993, no exception. There are the incredible salaries being earned by sports heroes. It was barely a decade ago that the first baseball player earned $1 million. Well, now the average salary of a Major League ball player is over $1 million. Maybe there is a correlation between salary and performance, though. The Toronto Blue Jays had the highest Major League payroll. They also won their second straight World Series. Michael Jordan, arguably the most famous U.S. athlete, stunned the sports and business worlds both by retiring, and suddenly the fate of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in celebrity endorsements by Jordan were up in the air. No pun intended. What about LT? Well, that would be Lawrence Taylor, all-pro linebacker for the New York Football Giants. LT's All-Pro Products is a company in search of a business. No matter, its stock went public during the year, quickly soared 185%. I'm Gordon Williams.
If you've been waiting for prices to drop to rock bottom before you start your Christmas shopping, then now is the time to get going to the bankruptcy blowout sale at Kaleidoscope Jewelers. Prices have been lowered and lowered and lowered again. They just hit rock bottom, $39 or less. You heard right. Over 20,000 glittering gifts of gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. Retails in the hundreds of dollars, now just $39 or less. Brilliant diamond jewelry, colorful gemstone jewelry, rings of every description. Fine watches, children's jewelry, men's jewelry, plus Kaleidoscope's fabulous selection of 14-karat gold chains, bracelets, charms, and earrings. Hurry, though. These are the final markdowns before Christmas, and selection is going fast. Smart shoppers are flocking to Kaleidoscope to take advantage of these bankruptcy bargains. Over 20,000 fabulous gifts of gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. Your choice now, just $39 or less. Only at Kaleidoscope Jewelers in Parkway Plaza, Mission Valley Center, Plaza Bonita, Chula Vista Center, College Grove, Claremont Square, Escondido Village, and Plaza Camino Real.
This weekend, using or opening your Montgomery Ward credit card just got better. Because this Friday through Sunday, when you use your Montgomery Ward credit card, you can save an extra 5, 10, 15%. Not just off regular prices, but off sale prices. Save an extra 15% on all Lazy Boy recliners, all diamonds, gemstones, and more. Save an extra 10% on all Sony camcorders and VCRs. All clothing, all gold, all tires, and more. Plus, get 0% interest on select electronics and appliances in Electric Avenue. Not for 6 months like other stores, but for 1 full year. An extra 5, 10, 15% throughout the store, even off sale prices. This weekend only, and happy holidays from Montgomery Ward. 12 equal monthly payments required. 21.6 APR, 50 cents minimum finance charge, but may be lower. Details in store. Offer ends Monday. % off excludes other early bird and discount coupons. Other restrictions apply. See store for required discount coupon details.
At Montgomery Ward today between 7 and 9 a.m., get 50% off all toys and plush toys. Plus Aladdin, Home Alone, and Homeward Bound videos. Get 20% off all other movies. Price is good for times indicated. Sale ends December 24th. Kinko's Copies. Your branch office is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to help with all your business needs, big or small. With everything from typesetting, faxing, binding, full-color copies, poster-size copies, to computer rental, flyers, newsletters, pickup and delivery. Now, for that special holiday gift that'll last all year, think Kinko's. Take in 12 of your favorite 3x5 or 4x6 color photos, and Kinko's will create a personal calendar for you or that someone special on your holiday gift list. Kinko's, with 10 locations in San Diego to serve you: La Jolla, Oceanside, San Marcos, downtown, Pacific Beach, Escondido, Mission Valley, SDSU, Kearney Mesa, Chula Vista, and coming soon to Poway, Encinitas, and Sports Arena. Remember, Kinko's has the perfect holiday gift for you, a personal calendar. Take in your pictures today. Kinko's is there for you 24 hours a day. Kinko's.
KSDO News Time, 7:25. Christmas specials on television are heralding the last weekend before the day itself. More from Mary Lyon with her Eye on TV.
We all have to wait another week, but for CBS and Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman in particular, Christmas Eve is upon us now. Diane Ladd guest stars as a ghost who takes Dr. Mike through a different kind of trip through Christmas past, present, and future. After that, another Hallmark Hall of Fame encore presentation from last year, Oh Pioneers, is adapted from the Willa Cather novel and stars Jessica Lange in a rare television appearance. ABC gives its entire night over to Christmas themes almost, starting with the animated Flintstone Family Christmas, then an animated classic featuring the voice of Jonathan Winters, The Wish That Changed Christmas, based on the book The Story of Holly and Ivy. Not finished yet either. Next up is the special A Musical Christmas at Disney World with Natalie Cole, Trisha Yearwood, Andy Williams, and Kathy Lee Gifford. Finishing out the night then is The Commish. NBC relies on its Saturday comedy lineup, The Mommies, Cafe Americaine, Empty Nest, Nurses, and then Sisters. I'm Mary Lyon.
KSDO News Time, 7:26. Now with this morning's medical report, here's Dr. Dean Edel.
In our figured-conscious society, just about everyone tries some form of exercise at least once. The problem is, for some people, finding the right activity and sticking to it. I hear all the time from people who say, running and walking bores me, or they don't like the weight machines at the gym. Well, maybe these people should stop trying 80s methods for a 90s body. You could be working out with an old-fashioned toy that's making a comeback. I'm talking about the medicine ball. You know, medicine balls, right? Those big, heavy leather spheres that folks were tossing around 50 years ago. I think it's great they're back, since I remember how much fun I had with one as a kid. Now, tossing a medicine ball might not provide a full aerobic workout, but throwing the ball around underhand, overhand, or thrusting it out from your chest will strengthen your upper body. You can still buy the old-fashioned kind of leather ball, or for animal lovers, there's a modern polyurethane version of this old favorite. Just goes to show you, there is more than one way to trim a body. And if you're having fun doing it, you're more likely to continue it. I'm Dr. Dean Edel.
When you go to Ralph's, it's guaranteed in stock. Everything you need every time you shop.
With all the holiday hustle and bustle, why drive all over town when you can find everything you'll need for your holiday celebration at Ralph's? From gift wrap and ribbons to prepared party platters to all the fixins for your homemade Christmas dinner. Come in and get a Ralph's frozen grade A hen or tom turkey for just 59 cents a pound. And Farmer John or Cook's shank portion hams, water added, are only 69 cents a pound with a $20 minimum purchase. Price is good through December 24th. And remember, at Ralph's, you can get a free child's admission ticket to Knott's Berry Farm when you buy an adult ticket for just $15.95. Details at Ralph's. All Ralph's stores will be closed Christmas Day. Merry Christmas from all of us at Ralph's.
Everything you need every time you shop.
Robert Crace, mystery writer.
First, I wrote for Hill Street Blues, Cagney and Lacey, L.A. Law, but I still wasn't doing what I really wanted to do. So I quit that, rented a cabin in the mountains, and went up there to write my first book.
At Blue Shield, we admire those individuals who write their own life stories.
When you write, you're world building. You're painting a picture for someone. It's brain theater.
That's why we offer individuals virtually as many options as we offer big companies. To get a lot of coverage for a little, there's Preferred Plus with 20% lower rates than the Blue Shield Preferred plan. For no deductibles and little or no co-payments, there's our personal HMO.
Listen, I write because I love to write. I make my own hours. I work for me. At the end of the day, you know what? My wife has to come in and drag me away from the computer.
We also have plans for people in between jobs, and even plans for kids. For details, call your Blue Shield agent or broker, or call us at 1-800-624-5150.
I can't imagine being anything else except maybe an astronaut.
Blue Shield of California, 1-800-624-5150.
Step back into a Victorian family Christmas in Old Town.
Tours of the Whaley House and Derby Pendleton House are offered tonight at 6 and 7:30. Both will be decorated in traditional Victorian style. Still need that perfect gift? Find it at the Friends of the San Diego Library book sale today. It runs from 9 to 4 at the University Heights branch located at Park Boulevard and Howard. The California Ballet Company presents a San Diego tradition for the holidays, the Nutcracker. See it at the San Diego Civic Theater. There's a matinee at 2:30 and evening performance at 8. The Space Theater debuts a brand new 3D laser show this weekend. It features the music of pioneer rockers Led Zeppelin. The Laser Zeppelin in 3D show runs at 9:15 and 10:30 tonight. That's Saturday's weekend calendar. I'm Gail Falkenthal on KSDO, AM 1130, News Talk Radio.
Another service to San Diego from KSDO. If you have golfers on your Christmas list, give them the Golf Privilege Card from the American Lung Association. For only $25, they can play golf at 400 courses in the West at discounted prices. Call 297-3901.
KSDO, AM 1130, News Talk Radio.
These are the top stories on this Saturday morning. United States soldiers are coming home from Somalia later this morning. And the owner and publisher of the Union Tribune, Helen Copley, is in stable condition following surgery. Vice President Al Gore visited Hungary to pay last respects to Prime Minister Joseph Antal. I'm Jim Buckaloo with the KSDO Weekend News team. Details on these stories coming up, along with sports with Whitney Southwick.
It's an NFL Saturday. We'll preview today's 2 ball games and check in on the rest of sports in 15 minutes.
If you have a news tip for KSDO, you can reach us directly through your Pactel cellular service by pressing star 1130. KSDO News Time, 7:31.
It's a great San Diego weekend, and you're tuned to San Diego's News Talk Radio. KSDO, AM 1130.
Residents of Berlin, New Hampshire are preparing for a homecoming visit from pilot Michael Durant. ABC's Bob Barbin has details.
The city of Berlin is going all out to welcome native son Michael Durant this weekend. The helicopter pilot shot down in Somalia and held captive for 11 days is scheduled to fly in by chopper to Berlin Airport this afternoon, where brief ceremonies will be held. He and his wife Lori and son Joey will lead a parade down Main Street Sunday afternoon, followed by a rally at the high school. The Durants also plan to attend functions at the local Salvation Army and VFW post. At least several thousand people are expected to view the parade, touted to be the biggest ever in Berlin. Bob Barbin for ABC News, Berlin, New Hampshire.
Police in Arkansas say the son of Surgeon General Jocelyn Elders is wanted on drug charges. Jocelyn Elders earlier suggested the government study the legalization of drugs. In Little Rock, Arkansas, police say they have issued a warrant for 26-year-old Kevin Elders just 1 week after his mother advocated research to determine whether legalizing illicit drugs would cut the crime rate. The White House says President Clinton opposes drug legalization, and in a 2-sentence statement, Mrs. Elders says she supports her son and then refers all questions to his lawyer, who refuses comment. Ukraine has reached preliminary agreement with Russia and the United States on compensation for the nuclear weapons it's going to give up. More from ABC's Jennifer Glass.
American and Russian negotiators have come to some sort of understanding with Ukraine over the issue of compensation for giving up its nuclear weapons. Despite promises that it would become a non-nuclear state, Ukraine last month demanded security guarantees and money in exchange for ratification of the START I arms treaty. Under this preliminary agreement, Ukraine will get some sort of compensation for tactical weapons it transferred to Russia last year. For the strategic warhead still on Ukrainian soil, the former Soviet Republic will get uranium for its nuclear power stations. Jennifer Glass, ABC News, Moscow.
Authorities in India are trying to figure out what to do with a 5-year-old boy accused of killing 3 children. The boy apparently attacked the others with a bamboo club when they refused to stop their noisy games outside his hut. Killed were an 18-month-old, a 6-year-old, and a 9-year-old. Authorities are unable to prosecute the boy under Indian law because he's under the age of 6. Vice President Al Gore is among the mourners, paying their final respects this morning to Hungarian Prime Minister Joseph Antal, who died last week and is to be buried this morning. His body is lying in state at the Hungarian Parliament building. Vice President Gore says Antal's death is a great loss for both Hungary and all the democracies in the world. Freshness and water are the keys to having a super Christmas tree this holiday season. Tom Wilburn has details.
If you have a Not your Christmas tree yet, better get going. But before you go, John Tolbert, the president of the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association, has some pointers. He says, first of all, buy a fresh tree.
You want a tree that has ideally been fairly recently cut, so it's got a fairly high moisture content and been taken care of on the lot, not allowed to lay out on a black pavement and heat up in the sun and dry out.
The next step is keeping the tree fresh with plenty of water.
Even if you don't put it up inside your house, you can store it outside with the trunk of the tree in a bucket of water. And ideally, you should take the tree, when you get the tree home, cut off about a 1/4 inch off the bottom of the trunk. Where sap has sealed the base of the tree, you want to cut off that bottom 1/4 inch and then put it in water.
Tolbert says a freshly cut tree can consume as much as a gallon of water the first day, so be sure to add water throughout the season. I'm Tom Wilborn.
A San Diego City councilman wants to see more poetry in people's lives and has found a simple way to do it. Ron Roberts is proposing a program that would display poetry on San Diego's buses and trolleys, a program patterned after a similar one in New York City, and has found its way into the 6,000 subway cars in the New York City area. So the city councilman tells KSDO the program is just to make people's day a little brighter, and we asked Roberts what kind of a response he's had.
Overwhelmingly in support. Maybe it's just the time of the year, but there's a lot of people that have called the office that are genuinely interested in seeing us do it.
None of the poetry displayed is longer than 16 lines, and none of it's depressing. The Metropolitan Transit Development Board should address a poetry program for San Diego early next year. KSDO News Time, 7:36. Now, Paul Harvey and the rest of the story.
Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. You know what the news is. In a minute, you're going to hear the rest of the story.
KSDO has some help for San Diego gardeners. It's the West Coast Garden Line with me, Bruce Asakawa. Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 8 to 10, you can join me on the West Coast Garden Line. I'll answer all of your gardening questions. So whatever you need to know about gardening, you can find it on the West Coast Garden Line with me, Bruce Asakawa, every Saturday and Sunday morning from 8 to 10 on KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
If there is not yet a Walmart store in your community, there will be any day, and when it happens, I promise you will never have had a better neighbor. From the inside out, Walmart stores offer the finest and the newest of everything, but two things are old-fashioned at Walmart: economy and hospitality. Walmart in those things is kind of like what the old general store used to be. That old-fashioned hospitality, which you see and hear and feel the moment you step through the door. The American dream is still good, and the newest, the proudest monument to that dream is the Walmart store. These rest of the stories are now available, a collection of them, on a video cassette and or an audio cassette. You order yours with a phone call to 1-800-88-STORY. And now today's rest of the story. Never in history did a town have such trouble naming itself than did the little town of... Well, that was the problem. The town had no name, not even an unofficial name. Oh, there were a lot of suggestions, but every time somebody made a suggestion, it was discovered that some other town already had that name. How did the folks find their way to the nameless town? Well, people who lived in the gently rolling hillscape of southern Indiana would simply point and say, over yonder is Nameless Town. And yes, that's exactly what they called it, Nameless Town, until one Friday night. It was late in 1852. In fact, it was Christmas Eve. The Christmas Eve service had just concluded in the little log church. Everybody was there. As good a time and a place as any to hold the final town meeting of the year, the citizens decided. As had often been the case throughout the years of town meetings since the community's founding, there was only one order of business that night: a name for the nameless town. All were gathered around the pot-bellied wood-burning stove. The circuit-riding preacher who had just preached the service was there, too. He was a popular fellow, the Reverend Christian Whittenback, so esteemed that one of those present proposed naming the town after him, Whittenback, Indiana. But the Reverend himself respectfully declined. After all, he did not even live there. The frustrating discussion continued. Now, when I mentioned everybody was there, I meant everybody, children, although quiet and not participating, were included. But then, with a chilly December gust, the door of the church blew open. It was the adults who fell silent now. It was the youngsters who suddenly came to life, because beyond the picture-framed doorway was a magical scene. Snowflakes winking on black velvet and the magical sound of sleigh bells. But whose sleigh might it be? All were present, remember. Nobody else for miles and miles around, except... You bet, that's right. And as the children ran to the doorway, they excitedly shouted the name every grown-up was thinking. Santa Claus. They cried, "It's Santa Claus." Thus it was one Christmas Eve, 140-some years ago, did a little nameless town receive a name, Santa Claus, Indiana. And it is so named to this day. The population no longer numbers in the dozens. There are 1,200 residents now, and in a sense, you might say 1,201 for each and every Christmas season. Hundreds of thousands of letters arrive in that town's post office, letters from all over the world with but a single name inscribed upon them. The inscriptions are often scrawled in crayon, but the letters are sent in utmost sincerity, and they are delivered. You know what the name is on all of those envelopes, and you know why the post office sees to it that those letters arrive where they do, because you know the rest of the story.
Paul Harvey returns at noon, and listen for Paul Harvey 3 times each weekday on KSDO, AM 1130 News Talk Radio. KSDO Traffic Watch 1130 and Catherine Scott.
Good morning, Jim. Well, the story for the traffic is we've got a couple accidents on the coastline, North 5, south of SeaWorld. A vehicle spin out there. It hit the center divide. Now it's out of travel lanes, and the CHP is attending to that right now. In Mission Valley, eastbound 8, west of the 163, that's near Hotel Circle. We have a motorcycle on fire there. Does your auto insurance policy cover a rental car? Farmers Insurance has the answers. Call your local Farmers Insurance Group agent today. I'm Catherine Scott. Traffic every 10 minutes, mornings and afternoons on KSDO, AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
KSDO News Time, 7:42. Admiral David Jeremiah, Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is in San Diego talking about trouble spots around the world. KSDO's Maureen Kavanaugh has the story.
The Russian elections was one of the topics covered by the Admiral. He says the success of a hardline leader is cause for concern, but that concern is already part of U.S. defense policy.
We have to pay attention to what's going on there and support the democratic forces that exist in Russia, provide the kind of support that is necessary for the Russian people.
Jeremiah, the number 2 man at the Pentagon, is in town to see the new destroyer the USS John Paul Jones commissioned. He spoke to the Navy League about military challenges in Bosnia, Somalia, and Haiti. I'm Maureen Kavanaugh, KSDO, AM 1130 News Talk Radio.
A 26-year-old woman is hurt following a drive-by shooting in East San Diego this morning. One of 3 men in a passing red Thunderbird in the 4,000 block of El Cajon Boulevard fired from 4 to 6 shots at Diana Reyes. She was struck once in the chest, rushed to a hospital, listed in stable condition this morning. KSDO News Time, 7:43.
Hi, this is Dennis Weaver with a warm welcome for all home-fed bank customers from the folks at Great Western Bank. You know, now that Great Western has acquired many of the home-fed branches, you'll have access to a full range of banking products and services, from personal and business checking accounts to savings accounts, home mortgages, and more. Investment services are also offered through Great Western Financial Securities Corporation. While Great Western's even open Saturdays from 9 to 3, and accounts are FDIC insured. The Great Western family has over 100 years of experience and $38 billion in assets. Now, if you have any questions, just call or visit your nearest branch or call 1-800-GW-ASK-US. That's 1-800-GW-ASK-US.
Great Western Financial Securities Corporation is a registered broker-dealer and an independent affiliate of Great Western Bank. Securities are not bank deposits and are not FDIC insured. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
You know, at our house, we can hardly wait for the holiday get-togethers. Because in these busy times, it's not every day we get to celebrate with family and friends. If I can make a suggestion, this year, make the most of your together by letting us help. At Vaughn's, we have everything you need for your holiday parties. Our service deli makes delicious hot and cold appetizer plates, giant party sandwiches, and fully prepared turkey, ham, or prime rib dinners. Our hot bakery has fresh baked pies and holiday cakes and cookies. And don't forget, you can get a beautiful centerpiece or a perfect hostess gift in our floral department. So this season, make Vaughn's your party headquarters.
Tender Hormel Cure 81 boneless ham is on sale for $2.49 a pound. A 5-pound bag of navel oranges is just 99 cents. Florist quality poinsettias in festive holiday colors, 2 for only $14.99. Offer good through December 25th.
From all of us at Vaughn's, have a joyous and happy holiday.
KSDO has the answers to your computer questions. Listen for Your Computer Time this morning at 11 on KSDO AM 1130 News Talk Radio. KSDO Sports Time, 7:45, and with the sports, here's Whitney Southwick.
A couple of NFL contests coming up today. This morning, it's Denver at Chicago. Bronco tight end Reggie Rivers says the way to beat the Bears is control the ball.
They force offenses to make mistakes, or sometimes offenses try to go and make the big play before they should instead of just trying to nickel and dime them. And so I think that's the challenge. We have to go in and be prepared to take 4 or 5 yards here, 4 or 5 there, and just move the ball down the field and not necessarily go for the big strike and not make any mistakes.
It's a must-win for both clubs with only 3 weeks to go in the regular season. Broncos still trying to catch the first-place Chiefs, Denver 8-5. Bears, on the other hand, are only 7-6, a loss, and the season's just about over. A fact not lost on the likes of offensive lineman Jerry Fontenot.
I think from here on out, yeah, every one is one that we need, but certainly this is going to be a great game for us. They're a good challenge, and in order for us to keep playoff hopes alive, yeah, from week to week, it's going to be from here on out.
This afternoon, Boomer Esiason and the Jets will host the Cowboys at the Meadowlands. Surprising Jets are 8-5 on the year, very much in the playoff picture in the AFC East, along with Miami and Buffalo. Utah State beat